Now, as Christian was walking solitary by himself, he espied one afar off come crossing over the field to meet him. The gentleman's name was Mr. Worldly Wiseman. He dwelt in the town of Carnal Policy, a very great town, and also hard by from whence Christian came. And their hap was to meet just as they were crossing each the way of the other.
How goes?
Greetings, jolly sir.
How now, good fellow? Whither away after this burdened and besmeared manner?
To yonder wicket gate before me, for there I shall be put into a way to be rid of my heavy burden.
Yonder wicket gate?
Yes.
Who did put thee to go this way to be rid of thy burden?
A man that appeared to me to be a very great and honorable person. His name, as I remember, is Evangelist.
Evangelist, you say?
Yes.
Bah! I beshrew him for his evil counsel. There is not a more dangerous and troublesome way in the world than is that into which he hath directed thee.
Indeed.
In fact, I perceive that thou hast met with something already. Do not I see upon thy person the dirt and slime of the Slough of Despond?
I took my eyes off the light and did miss the steps.
Well, let me tell you that slough is but the beginning of the sorrows that do attend those that go on in that way.
It is?
Yes. Thou art like to meet with, in the way which thou goest, wearisomeness, painfulness, hunger, perils, nakedness, sword, lions, dragons, darkness, and, well, to cut my list short, death and what not all else.
Oh my.
Aye, oh my, indeed. And these things are certainly true, having been confirmed by the many testimonies of those coming back.
But I tell you, sir, methinks I care not what I meet with in the way. If so be, I can also meet with deliverance from my burden.
I see. Well, then let us analyze this situation logically. Tell me first, how camest thou by this great burden?
By the reading of this book in my hand.
Just as I feared. It has happened unto thee as unto other weak men who, meddling with things too high for them, do suddenly fall into thy distractions, which distractions do not only unman men, as thine I perceive have done thee, but they run them upon desperate ventures to obtain they know not what.
But I know what I would obtain.
What?
It is ease for my heavy burden.
But of course. But why wilt thou seek for ease this way?
Knowest thou a better way?
Yea, verily. And the remedy is near at hand.
It is?
Yes. And in this way, instead of those great and many dangers, thou shalt meet with much peace and safety.
Why, sir, I pray thee open this secret to me.
'Tis simple. Over there, in yonder village named Morality, there dwells a gentleman whose name is Legality, a very judicious man.
Oh?
Yes, a man of very good name that has skill to help men off with such burdens as weigh upon thy shoulder.
Indeed?
Hey, to my knowledge, he hath done a great deal of good this way.
It sounds to be just the thing.
It is. And since his house is not quite a mile from this place, you may go to him and be helped right off.
Indeed?
And if he should, perchance not be at home himself, he hath a pretty young man to his son, whose name is Civility, that can relieve thee quite as well as the old gentleman himself.
Why, such good fortune.
Yes, there you may be eased of thy burden.
Sir, if these things which thou speakest of be true, then my wisest course is to take your advice.
Yes, but of course.
Sir, which is the way to this honest man's house?
Do you see yonder high hill?
Yes, very well. I have been walking in its shadow since I began my travels.
'Tis called Mount Sinai. Up that hill you must go, and the first house at the top is his.
So Christian turned out of his way to go to Mr. Legality's house for help. But behold, when he was got now hard by the hill, it seemed so high, and also that side of it that was next to the wayside did hang so much over the path that Christian was afraid to venture farther, lest the hill should fall on his head. Wherefore there he stood still, and wotted not what to do. Also his burden now seemed heavier to him than while he was in his way. There came also flashes of fire out of the hill that made Christian afraid that he should be burnt. Here therefore he sweat and did quake for fear. And now he began to be sorry that he had taken Mr. Worldly Wiseman's counsel. And with that he saw Evangelist coming to meet him, at the sight also of whom he began to blush for shame. So Evangelist looked upon him with a severe and dreadful countenance, and thus began to reason with Christian.
What doest thou here, Christian?
Art thou not the man that I found crying without the walls of the city of destruction?
Yes, dear sir, I am the man.
Did not I direct thee the way to the little wicket gate?
Yes, sir.
How is it then that thou art so quickly turned aside? For thou art now out of the way.
I met with a gentleman as soon as I had got over the Slough of Despond, who persuaded me that I might climb this Mount Sinai, and find at its top the village morality, where I might meet a man that could relieve me of my burden.
I see.
And so I foolishly believed him, and turned me out of that way into this, if haply I might soon indeed be eased of my burden. But when I came to this place, and beheld things as they are, I stopped for fear of danger. But I now know not what to do.
Stand still a little, that I might show thee the words of God.
Yes, sir.
Now, the just shall live by faith. But thou hast begun to reject the counsel of the Most High, and to draw back thy foot from the way of peace, even almost to the hazarding of thy perdition.
Oh, woe is me, for I am undone.
Stand thee up on thy feet.
Yes, sir.
Fear not, poor Christian, for all manner of sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven unto men. Be not faithless, but believing.
Is it even so? May I be forgiven?
Aye, if thou canst believe. All things are possible to him that believeth.
I believe, only help thou mine unbelief.
That man that met thee in the way was one worldly wise man. His counsel was near to be the death of thee.
Yes, sir.
The Lord says, Strive to enter in at the strait gate, the gate to which I sent thee. For strait is the gate which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it.
Yes, sir.
He to whom thou wast sent for thine ease, the man called Legality, is the son of the bondwoman which is yet in sin's bondage with all her children. She is revealed unto thee in this Mount Sinai.
I, which I had greatly feared would fall on my head.
So it would have been had thou not stopped. But if Legality and his mother and his brethren are yet in bondage, how canst thou expect by them to be made free?
I don't know what I thought.
This Legality is not able to set thee free from thy burden. Ye cannot be justified by the works of the law, for by the deeds of the law can no man living be rid of his burden.
Yes, I have read it in my book.
Which thing thou shouldest have quoted unto the adversary, and cut his arguments to the marrow.
I forgot.
Which led thee nearly to thy destruction.
Yes.
And by which thy burden was made none the lighter.
Nay, but more the heavier.
Therefore, Mr. Worldly Wiseman is an alien, and Mr. Legality is a cheat. And as for his son, Civility, notwithstanding his simpering looks, he is but a hypocrite and cannot help thee.
I can see them clearly for what they are now. God forbid that I shall ever be thus deceived again.
I call upon the heavens for confirmation that my words are not my own, but those of him who sent me.
As many as are of the works of the law are under the curse. For it is written, Cursed is everyone that continueth not in all things which are written in the book of the law to do them.
Oh, I fear for my life. Oh, curse the time that I stopped to parley with the enemy. Oh, curse my forgetfulness of the promises. Oh, I have played the part of 1,000 fools time 10,000 fools.
Praise to God that thy eyes have been opened.
And shame to me that they ever should have thus been closed by arguments that flowed only from the flesh. Shame to me that worldly wise logic should have prevailed against the words of truth. Sir, what think you? Is there any hope for me?
There is hope.
May I now turn and go up to the wicket gate?
You may go.
Shall I not be abandoned for this sin, and be sent back from thence ashamed?
You shall not be sent back, for the man at the gate hath come for to bring peace to earth, good will to men. Go in peace.
I shall, sir. I shall.
Then did Christian address himself to go back, and Evangelist, after he had kissed him, gave him one smile and bid him Godspeed. So he went on with haste. Neither spake he to any man by the way, nor, if any asked him, would he vouchsafe them an answer. He went like one that was all the while treading on forbidden ground, and could by no means think himself safe, till again he was got in the way which he had left to follow Mr. Worldly Wise Man's counsel.